Hi, let me begin with asking you a question. How often do you change your car tires? Once a year or two? But can you imagine how many tires are dumped every year? I'll tell you how many. There are about 3.2 million tires dumped every year just in the United States of America. So now you can imagine how many tires are dumped every year all over the world. And this leads to a serious environmental issue. One of them being the landfilling sites for these dumped tires are filling up very rapidly, and very soon there won't be any sites available for these tires. And the other major issue is these tires are majorly used for fuel purposes, and the burning of these tires emits various hazardous gases for the environment. And to overcome this issue, I here come up with a new method of recycling this tire rubber. Crumb rubber is basically a granular form of tire rubber. This is basically formed by cutting, shredding, and magnetically separating the tire rubber. There has been a vast research done on incorporation of crumb rubber as filler material. One such good invention is use of crumb rubber and crumb rubber concrete, which has turned out to be very efficient. Crumb rubber has turned out to be very good filler material because of its favorable properties like resilience, high elasticity, and majorly the acoustic and thermal insulation properties. Crumb rubber has a vast range of applications, as you can see in figure number 2. Now I'll tell you the reason why I chose polyurethane foam as the material to be reinforced. Polyurethane foam is very vastly used in domestic purposes and has various applications, as you can see in figure number 3. To start with, crumb rubber particles were separated using a sieve machine. And these sieve machines separated different crumb rubber particles of different sizes, and these particles were used to fabricate the foam composites. Different sizes of crumb rubber particles were used to reinforce the foam composites, and a fixed composition of 30% of crumb rubber with weight was used as foam composition. Using Archimedes' principle, the densities and porosities were found, and it was found that the porosity was actually going up with incorporation of rubber particles. This can be explained with the hydrophobic property of the crumb rubber and the hydrophilic property of polyurethane foam, and there is not proper surface adhesion, and this leads to increase in porosity. This increase in porosity of a closed cell structure in a way is fruitful. This is because the pores within the closed cell structure form as a good sound barrier. When the samples were subjected to compression, it was found that they take lesser loads compared to the foam with no rubber particles. But in turn, when the elasticity was looked into, it was found that there was increase in elasticity with incorporation of crumb rubber. This can be explained with the SEM image on the left corner. We can see that the crumb rubber particles are incorporated within the foam, transfer the properties constructively. And this elastic property of crumb rubber particles are transferred to the whole foam composite. And this method, when used in domestic purposes, would turn out to be very efficient and very beneficial, not only economically but also environmentally. Economically, because the crumb rubber particles, when incorporated, makes the foam samples cheaper than available. I am Omer Sanjay, a graduate student from Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. I thank my advisor Dr. Raman P. Singh and my colleagues from my lab for mentoring me and making this possible.